Here at the Masternodes, we are not making any claims as to income you may earn. Before entering any agreement, please use caution and seek the advice of a professional advisor, such as attorney or financial advisor.
Please ensure your own research is done before investing any money into the market. What is going on, guys? It's the Master Nodes here, back at you again with another podcast. My name is Ryan Prendez. This is my business partner, Nestor Sanchez.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And we are the Master Nodes. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for joining the podcast. We understand your guys' lives are busy and hectic, and we really appreciate you guys coming on and supporting. Remember to follow and subscribe to our social media accounts on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, at the Master Nodes. Make sure to follow our personal social media accounts to stay up to date with us. Mine is at Rye the Crypto Guy, and my boy's Nestor's is at Masternode1. Visual podcast experience can be found on YouTube, along with our audio podcast experience that can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and all your other favorite podcast sources. Make sure you guys visit our website, www.themasternodes.com, and subscribe to our email list. There, you guys will receive some flame crypto content. You guys will also receive market rundowns, news updates, and any additional resources that we don't provide to you guys from our Instagrams, or I'm sorry, from our social media accounts. You guys can find it all there in our email list at www.themasternodes.com, and you guys can receive the greatest information in cryptocurrency. I'm going to pass it to my boy Nestor. He's going to go ahead and let you guys know what's happening today.
Yeah, so today we're going to be having a good friend. His name is Jordan, is at NFT Education. In his free time, he teaches people about NFTs, about investing, about cryptocurrency. This is going to be a really great podcast, so definitely stick around to the end.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Jordan. I'm NFT Education. I want to help you learn about NFTs. So follow me at NFT Education on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And you can watch my TikToks at NFT_education. I post quality content on all platforms. So make sure to follow me if you want to learn more about NFTs. So did you guys hear about the Bitcoin and Ethereum price today? Bitcoin was at the time of writing at $47,800 and Ethereum just at $3,400. So definitely not the lows of the week here. We're seeing definitely some healthy prices on both Ethereum and Bitcoin, which is definitely a good sign. And speaking of news this week, did you guys hear about the Christies and the Christie's auction for Gary Vee's original art pieces from his NFT Bee Friends?
Yeah. I heard about it. It was going live. I believe it was like 5 of his NFTs, right? That were going live for auction. And it was one of the first times NFTs were actually auctioned at Christie's, from what I believe, right?
Oh, well, yeah, no, actually, he auctioned off 5 of his original art pieces, but it did not include any of his NFTs. So this was just strictly the art. But what's really groundbreaking is that Gary Vee and his original art pieces for his NFTs outsold different works of art from Jackson Pollock and other famous artists like Andy Warhol and Alice Neal. Because his empathetic elephant, which was the most expensive work of art, sold for over $412,500, and all 5 of his art pieces ended up selling for over $1.2 million.
Wow, that's crazy. And when you think about it, like, have you guys actually seen the art? It's not groundbreaking art.
I'm gonna be honest, it kind of looks like it was drawn by a like 5-year-old.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not gonna lie.
that's what's kind of crazy about it. You have real artists that are like, post real art, and like art is subjective, which is kind of crazy. So like, even if you feel like you're the best artist, that may not go for the most price. So like, it's crazy. This is more like history, I feel like. Gary Vee is inserting himself into the NFT space, and because he's done that using artwork, then now he's like bleeding out into like these other art fields. And even though I don't think that was his real intention, but like, they, like you said, it was like $400,000 for an elephant that he drew, empathetic elephant. You know, it was more about the emotion. It was more about, what Gary Vee stands for rather than, I guess, the art piece, you would say.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole kind of meaning behind why his NFTs are hand drawn as they are is just to kind of show like his side of his emotions, as well as a little bit of a personal touch, which I think just makes it worth more because you're actually getting something from someone who we all appreciate,
Mhm.
and it's really handmade by him. Like you can tell that was his art,
Yeah.
and it really does kind of, I think, represent Gary Vee's character in a way. It's kind of like quick, spur of the moment kind of doodles that are a little bit all over the place, but they still at the end of the day have a meaning and a message to get across, just like any type of art.
I feel like if he were to have made like had an artist do the empathetic elephant and made it all nice, it would have been a totally different feel, a totally different like vibe, I guess you would say. And it wouldn't have that, personal touch, oh, this was really made by Gary Vee. You could tell because he's not an artist.
And
But yeah,
honestly,
so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
what really astounded me was the fact that it sold for like such a high amount, like for it to be Gary Vee, I mean, Gary Vee is someone that's big in our space. Well, by our space, what I mean is like finances or, entrepreneurship, like that area. But like, I feel like outside of that, like if I was to go ask my, like my cousin or my sister or even my mom, like, hey, do you know who Gary Vee is? Like I feel like they wouldn't have a clue. They would be like, I don't know, who's that guy. I mean, besides that, Gary Vee, I feel like doesn't really get out of his space to expand his audience. And not that that's not a good thing. I feel like he's very specific on who he speaks to. And the fact that he's specific on who he speaks to really kind of connects with people in a very specific way that he leaves his mark on the people that he speaks to or the people that he influences. So I feel that with Gary Vee, although it may be a situation where, he's not as well known, he's still well and known enough in our community to the point where people are willing to pay such a high price for his art. And that's what blows my mind.
Well, what you have to keep in mind is that, Gary Vee, his audience, like you said, he stays true to his one specific target audience, but that target audience is basically entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are all different types of people and they cover every different industry. So when you think about it, he does have a specific audience, but that audience has such a broad, scope of what they are interested in and where they're gonna show up to show support.
Yeah, that's actually something that I was gonna like touch on. Like, yeah, when you think about his target audience, entrepreneurs, businessmen, money makers, they're trying to hustle, they're trying to flip. So like, those are the people that they have the money. So like they're competing amongst a bunch of other business people for that same NFT. That's obviously gonna, bump up the value, I think, a bit. Yeah, now speaking of Gary Vee, I know he was a kind of mentor to you. I know to me he was a very inspirational person when it came to like posting on social media, creating an audience, just straight out putting yourself out there and providing value to an audience. So like I know that was one of our idols, our kind of mentors in this space. But do you have any other people you kind of look into or look up to when it comes to like NFTs and cryptocurrency and stuff?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, when I was starting out, I really, I was watching a lot of Alexander Lorenzo's videos as well. So I think he was, a big mentor for me. But really, I stayed with a lot of different YouTube channels when I was learning about cryptocurrency pretty early, and then actually, it wasn't even until after investing for into cryptocurrency for 2 years that I had realized that one of my uncles was actually an Ethereum millionaire. So he had like over 500 Ethereum. And I had no clue. He's one of my relatives from Thailand. So on my dad's side of the family. And, I had never really been able to talk to him because, we're so far apart. So yeah, eventually, I came to know that that's what he does for a living. So he definitely inspired me and just gave me living proof of like someone that I could, that I know who has, made success in cryptocurrency, as well as the stock market and other industries. But yeah, so he was definitely one of the main people who influenced me to keep staying invested and interested in cryptocurrency. And then yeah, in terms of NFTs, like you guys said, Gary Vee was a big influence for me. He was more of an influence for me just in general, beforehand for a long time, quite a few years. But then when he started really getting into NFTs around, March, April, May, when he started releasing VFriends, is when I really started learning a lot about NFTs and kind of took all of his knowledge from over the years of saying how important it is for people to create content and
Mm-hmm.
to create a brand and give something that's meaningful to other people, because at the end of the day, giving uh, to other people is one of the most important things that you can do in life, not just so you can get something back, but just so that you can live a happy and fulfilled life. So yeah, I just kind of put that all together, and that's what really inspired me to create this channel, NFT Education, and be here today.
That's honestly inspiring, to see where you come from and how far you've grown since then. Talking to you a little bit before we started recording, it seems that you're one of those people that although may have started a little bit later as opposed to someone that started when cryptocurrency first came out back in 2012. We're us being all on the same boat is like what I hear a lot of nowadays is, you don't have enough experience, but for a market that's 12 or not even 12 years old, let's see, what is it? Almost
Yeah, like
11
around
years
12.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost, yeah, around 12 years old. Uh, for it to be that old and seeing our growth and hearing your story, it's just like there's a lot of people out there that have similar situations coming from not really knowing much and just building the knowledge over the years to kind of now be like, okay, I feel comfortable enough to, although I may not have started way back when, I now know enough to be like, okay, whoever doesn't know anything could come to me and I can go ahead and ask them or let them know, like this is what it is.
And like one thing I kind of hear in the space a lot when I talk to people, I'd be like, a lot of people have made money doing this. And then they say, oh, well, then it's too late, right? So like going back to kind of what Ryan said, it's 12 years old. When you think about the stock market, it's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? So you could see the growth in that. So to say that you were too late, even for the stock market right now, some people say, oh, it's too late. No, because assets grow over time due to inflation, due to a lot of different factors, just growth in general, then no matter if you put $10, $20, or $100,000, you're still gonna get that growth, whether it be like 10%, 20%, you're still gonna be getting that growth. So starting now would be the best time, right? There's no better time than the present to get started with NFTs, with cryptocurrency, all that good stuff. It's all about starting now. And speaking of getting started, what kind of got you started with NFTs? I know you said Gary Vee was kind of like inspiration around that time. Did you hear about other cryptocurrencies before that?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, DeFi was always kind of one of my favorite topics within cryptocurrency, obviously, because where I started investing in cryptocurrency, it was from basically having a stock market investing background. So obviously, decentralized finance always kind of intrigued me. And one of the things that I kind of picked up on early is that NFTs were actually one of the first ways that decentralized finance was able to be realized, and people were able to actually use decentralized finance, because actually back in 2012 on the Bitcoin blockchain, they developed what was called colored coins, which were Bitcoins that you were able to attach metadata to, and that metadata was able to be forever added to that coin, making it completely different from any other Bitcoin, therefore being, one of the first non-fungible tokens, or not mutually interchangeable with one another. And those were then used to represent different stocks and companies. And that was one of the first DeFi projects ever created, was basically an NFT.
For the people listening and tapping in with us, the biggest question that we're kind of here for is, what are NFTs?
So this is my favorite question, and I get this question on a daily basis. So NFTs are a digital asset that's verifiable on the blockchain. And that's basically how you can think of any NFT. It's just a digital asset that's verifiable on the blockchain. So digital assets are things that we use every day, basically just things that exist only virtually and don't have any tangible object attached to them. So if you have a subscription to Netflix or Hulu, that's actually a virtual kind of access that you purchase, but you never actually receive anything on paper. You don't actually have anything that you can see or touch that proves that you have a Netflix subscription, except something that's online, such as just like a line of text that says, you have, this much amount of subscription left on your account. So a digital asset is just something that exists virtually that gives you access, or anything like a cryptocurrency. So that digital asset is being tracked just like a cryptocurrency would be on a blockchain. So it's completely transparent, it's verifiable, and it's very secure by using, the blockchain that it runs on.
So kind of like breaking down the word non-fungible token, like how would you kind of explain that to people? Because I feel like that's a confusing thing. Because when I hear NFTs or non-fungible tokens, no way in my mind do I think art, right? Or do I think a video, or do I think a VR costume or whatever, right? So kind of, is there a way you can like break that down?
Yeah, so of course, non-fungible, fungible means interchangeable. So currency like US dollars are fungible. If I give you a $5 bill and you give me 5 singles, because that value is the same, we can do business, because even though you have a different amount of bills as me, we're still exchanging, $5, and that $5 is equal to any $5 that you have in the currency system.
So would you say like one Bitcoin is fungible with another Bitcoin? Is that like kind of, as long as it's the same currency, it's fungible?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then so non-fungible would obviously be things that are unique and have no other comparable asset to be able to exchange for it. So for example, if I have a house, that is an example of a non-fungible asset, because there is no other house that is exactly the same or in the exact location as that house. So even if you have another house that is of the same value, we can't trade those houses every time, because one is not the same as the other.
So like you would say like art, even though they're made by the same person or minted by the same crew or whatever, right? That they are non-fungible because they are not the same art piece, right? Some NFTs have more rarity than others, right? And then some have more clout with them because artists affiliate with them, or Jay-Z bought a crypto punk, right? So
Right.
I think that could be like something that ends up rising the price, and that's why Jay-Z's NFT is worth more than another person's NFT, who maybe they're the same crypto punk, maybe similar, but they're not the same, right?
Right, exactly. So kind of what you might be suggesting is, like, if I had taken a screenshot of a CryptoPunk and then uploaded that to the blockchain, it's technically the same NFT. It's the picture of a CryptoPunk on the blockchain, but because I uploaded that to the blockchain and it's not the original Larva Labs minting it, that makes it a completely different asset, even though the underlying picture is the same.
Yeah, so it's having the NFT is like having the token that gives you ownership to whatever that NFT may be, right?
Yeah, like what I like to explain with like art and stuff like that, with like in terms of like how you were saying, someone can like literally take the exact same thing, post it on the blockchain, but it's not going to be worth the same. So like, you know, when I think about like the Mona Lisa, it's art. I could take a picture of it from the Louvre and I could print it out and I could staple it to my wall and I'll say, hey, I have the Mona Lisa, but everybody knows I don't actually own that. That's not the real Mona Lisa. And if I try and sell it, someone's gonna just laugh at my face and be like, okay, I'll give you $10 for it, right? So like, even though they're the exact same proportions, exact same everything, it's all about who owns it. And I think that's kind of better in terms of like tracking, right? Like you would
Right.
say the Louvre owns the Mona Lisa, but there's no real like, other than the fact that they have it with them, there's no real way to say they own it, this and that, right? So it's pretty interesting how the NFTs track all this stuff. And that's kind of, I think, one of the main jobs of this, because with the way internets transact through art digitally and stuff like that, there was no real way to say I own this, because someone could literally make a copy and then they could say they own it and then it's your word against theirs. But if you originally minted it, then you're able to physically show, hey, I bought this, I own it, this is mine, I created it, etc. Right?
Right,
So like
exactly.
going into like that, like where can I purchase an NFT? Are there just one spot, or can I do it with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies? Can I buy it with Bitcoin or
Well, so Bitcoin actually wasn't designed to withstand NFTs and smart contracts. So there's not really that many NFTs that you can really buy on Bitcoin. If you did, they'd probably be like a super rare find, and you'd really have to know someone personally in order to be able to
hmm,
find one, in my opinion. But if you want to purchase an NFT, the most popular place is called OpenSea, or OpenSea.io is the actual website. And they actually did $2.6 billion in sales just last month. So they currently are the top most traded NFT marketplace by market cap. And the second would be Foundation, which is another NFT marketplace, but they sell more exclusive one of one pieces of art. And you actually have to get an invite. So it's invite only to be able to sell NFTs on there. So it's a little more exclusive than OpenSea, where anybody can mint an NFT. But Foundation would be the second most popular NFT marketplace. And then following close by is Rareable and Super Rare, which both do about 20 million in sales the last 30 days. So almost 10 times less than OpenSea. However, it's still a substantial amount of
hmm.
buyers, and it's a great. Those are both great marketplaces for anyone looking to sell or buy NFTs.
For the NFTs, when you purchase them on OpenSea, you have to use Ethereum, right?
Yeah, you can use Ethereum or Polygon to purchase NFTs.
Okay.
So what I see a lot, especially now, I believe ADA also allows you to not purchase direct NFTs, but I guess mint NFTs. Can you explain what it means to straight up purchase an NFT versus minting an NFT? Is there a difference? Is it the same?
Right. So that's a great question. And a lot of people don't really understand what minting means, because it can kind of be used in two ways. So first, minting obviously means to put an NFT on the blockchain. The minting is the transaction, the first transaction that happens to actually create the NFT, or the non-fungible token, like you guys were saying. So that is going to be the creation of the token that represents the digital asset. And that term, because some projects, have 10,000 or 20,000 NFTs that they're releasing. Sometimes they don't want to pay to mint all the NFTs, because when you do that transaction on the blockchain, you obviously have to pay gas fees for that. So if you're paying 10 to 20,000 gas fees in a row, you could be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars before you even make a single sale. So what people have done is deferred the gas fees to the customer. So when the customer buys the NFT, what they're doing is actually paying to get the opportunity to mint an NFT, and then the customer themselves then gets to list the first NFT on the blockchain by paying the gas and interacting with the smart contract. Then the NFT gets created and sent to your wallet. So in that way, you are purchasing the NFT, but it's also being minted for you. And then the difference between obviously doing that and then purchasing an NFT outright would be that the NFT would be already minted before you bought it, either by the creator of the NFT or by a secondary sale. So someone else who minted it or someone else who bought it from someone who had minted it.
That's some great information. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that, but that's why we have you on here, because that's some great information. I did not know really the difference between minting and purchasing, but that's good that that they are differentiating between the two.
Yes,
Yeah, the
it's
reason.
actually, oh, sorry guys, but that's actually known also as lazy minting. So when a project chooses to defer the gas fees to the customer, some people call that lazy minting.
Yeah, I didn't really know about minting until the ADA announcement came out, and I noticed that for OpenSea, it was either well, from what I saw, it was either Ethereum or like wrapped Ethereum. I didn't even know about Polygon, but from what I saw, it was Ethereum or wrapped Ethereum. And then I heard ADA was going to allow you to mint, not purchase, but mint the NFTs. So actually, that's what got me looking into it, because I was like, okay, well, wait, what is the exact difference between minting and just straight up purchasing? But I feel like you explained it perfectly on the money. And Nestor was right. This is exactly why we do have you here.
Specialists. So yeah, now kind of talking about like, okay, we've minted it now. Now what happens when I want to sell it? How do I make a NFT go up in value? Is it because of me that makes it go up in value, or are there other extenuating circumstances, or does it have to do with the community and all that stuff? These are kind of questions that we get all the time. What makes an NFT valuable? Like that's, I guess, kind of the breakdown of it.
Yeah, no, that's another great question. And you guys definitely, have a lot of great points when you say, is me buying it affecting the price in any way? There are a few NFT projects, probably more than a few NFT projects that allow you to actually make changes to the NFT as being an owner. So one of those is called hash masks, which allows the NFT owner to change the name of the NFT. So if you change it to a name that makes it more attractive on the NFT marketplace, that would actually increase the price. There's also NFT games, like you guys have probably heard of Zed Run or Axie Infinity. Those games you could play. I know Zed Run, you could breed horses. You can also train your horses to make them better. So there are different things that you can do to actually level up your NFTs and make them more valuable to other players or other buyers in the future. But mostly what gives the NFT value is what's predetermined, or what's being controlled by the creators of the NFT. So whatever utilities or uses you get, or benefits and features that the NFT has, normally those set the tone for how much the NFT is going to be worth. And also the popularity of the creators or the team that's making the NFT, like if it's by a popular celebrity, like Doja Cat or someone like Floyd Mayweather releasing an NFT, they would be able to obviously sell for a little bit higher because they have that name behind them, and their fame is kind of tied into the token. So if you hold it and that person becomes more famous, they get more fans who want to support them by buying the NFTs, then the NFT would also go up in value. And then finally, the value that you place on it personally is also very important. So obviously, if it's something that has sentimental value to you, maybe that's a value that you put on the NFT that is just unmatched at any point.
Hmm. So it's like also like the price that you set onto it to sell it too, right? That also determines what it is. Because if you want to sell it for 0.01 Ethereum, someone can snatch that up, right? But if you want to sell it for 18, then it's gonna take a little more specificity in order for me to understand, okay, this is why I would rather spend 18,000 on this NFT. And when you say utility, I think that kind of goes back to like, well, I just want to say the Gary V example because he's my homie. But like, Gary V, he brings utilities in these NFTs. When you buy the NFT, you're not just getting this digital asset in terms of the picture, but you also get access to other things. He has something called VCon, which is basically, I think it's a social media event where basically he talks, he has other people presenting. I think he's gonna go and talk about NFTs a lot this year and the next year after that, most likely. But you get access to, I think, maybe 4 years of it. So you're able to, in terms of utility, that's another thing. I think some of them even have, in terms of rarity, like other perks. You get to have dinner with him, he flies you out, or something of the sort. So like there are investments when you say utility, we're talking about other things that come with this NFT. And we talk about this stuff a lot with investing in cryptocurrency. You want to make sure your cryptocurrency has some underlying value between you and the purchaser, and you want to make sure that that is translated then to its value in terms of dollars. So is there anything else you can think of in terms of like utility that would be an example other than just like access to things or stuff like that?
I mean, access is obviously a big one. Another utility would be ownership or equity in any type
Mm.
of a business. Like if you guys have heard of Gambling Apes, the
Mm.
NFT gives you a share to the casino that they Gambling Apes community runs in Decentraland. So it's a public casino that anyone who plays Decentraland can go in and gamble, make money or lose money, and the profit of the casino gets evenly divided between all the owners of the NFT. So there are monetary utilities that you can get for NFTs. A lot of projects do giveaways. A lot of projects donate to charity. So sometimes if you buy an NFT, a portion of your money is given away to a charity. So that could be another reason why you'd want to buy that NFT. And utilities are something that are just developing every single day. You can kind of compare it to when apps first came out on the iPhone. If you guys remember, there was like the beer chug app, the Zippo lighter app, and like what else?
Throwback.
That's what she said. Button app. Like and
Yeah.
those apps
Yeah,
were
yeah.
The
It
little
was just
machine gun
very,
app.
very
right.
simplistic apps,
Exactly.
like where you could only do like a couple of functions on them, and that was it.
Right. So that's where NFTs are now with utility. There's a couple things that you could kind of add in to make the NFTs kind of interesting. But really, we're going to be waiting on developers to kind of take the technology to the next level and be able to integrate even more into NFTs.
What do you see happening to NFTs in the future? Like, where can NFTs be utilized? Because we see NFTs already in VR gaming. As a symbol status, recently United Talent Agency signed Larva Labs, the developers of CryptoPunks. And basically what they're trying to do with them is, have them appear in film, TV, video games, publishing. And so where do you see NFTs kind of going from here moving forward?
Well, no, that's a super interesting question. And it's really something that I think about every day. I think so. Really, you're gonna see NFTs, like you said, taking over the entertainment industry. You're gonna see NFTs taking over the social media industry because you're seeing more and more people interact with each other online. And the bottom line is NFTs and different Web3 gaming and metaverses just allow people to connect on an even more personal level while still being, somewhat disconnected and only virtually connected. The gaming industries obviously are going to be taken over by NFTs and play to earn gaming. That, like I said, with Zed Run or Axie Infinity, that you can actually level up your NFTs. You can then participate them in contests and actually make money with your NFTs. I think that's gonna definitely affect the gaming industry a whole lot. The fashion industry, I think you're gonna start seeing a lot of people wearing actually augmented reality clothing that you can only see with metaverses or with digital, imagery. But they're gonna be basically wearing that every day. You already see it with timepiece watches, NFT watches that are connected to your Apple Watch, which you can actually see with augmented reality. Different people have watches basically over their Apple Watch, but it's just on a virtual layer.
That's crazy. So it's kind of like clout, like that's
Yeah,
wearable, right? And when you
right.
think about like what we see now, we have the LV or the Rolex, and that's what gives you that status symbol. But imagine being able to wear your own NFT that someone else made 10 years ago. That's all big. It was one of its first, and now people know that and they notice it, and they're like, "Wow, this guy's wearing $1 million a piece of artwork on his wrist," right? So that's going to be the crazy new thing. And then you see like those Apple glasses. Imagine you're walking and then you see someone's green screen shirt just light up, and it's
Yeah,
able to like show some type of reality within the normal world. So it's crazy to think like there's so many different applications that we don't even see because we're not even there yet, but when you think about gaming, that's one of the things that I can really relate to because I'm a gamer. But like in terms of like Fortnite, its skins, I feel like that's really transmittable because we have V-Bucks. And you could imagine if that was just Ethereum tokens. And skins, some of them are rare. We think about that Halloween skin that was all skeleton. That one was ultra rare. You had people selling their profiles, you had people exchanging. So you could imagine without having to sell your profile, you could then exchange in between Fortnite players amongst the community. And that's kind of where we could go next. We have this metaverse where, hey, I played really hard and I got this skin that gives me this extra perk, but I don't really want it right now. I could sell it to you for $100,000, $1,000, whatever. And that is more of a status symbol rather than it is monetary value, or it's kind of what it brings to the game rather than what it is in real world and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting to see how we could go from what we have now versus the possibilities later on.
right. I think what we're gonna see a lot of is people kind of using their NFT wallet or their crypto wallet as kind of like a resume or kind of like a social media account where it's like if you kind of want to find out more about me and the kind of person I am, you could check out the kind of NFTs that I own and you could see, I play this game a lot and I'm at this level, you know what I'm saying? Or you could say I like this artist, you might also like that artist. Now we have something in common. And people are also, like you said, doing it for status symbols. I think blockchain, checking the blockchain and looking at someone's wallet is going to become a popular thing to do. Just like right now, we're googling someone or we're looking up their Instagram, looking at their pictures to see what kind of person they are. I
Mm-hmm.
think in the future, people are going to be doing that on the blockchain and within people's crypto wallets and looking at their NFT profiles and pictures.
Going down to it, I think that, and this is kind of like a side note, I think the whole looking into or being able to see someone else's wallet if you have like their public address, that's gonna change the game when it comes to I don't have any money. like like wait a minute, nah, you got like 4 Ethereum in your wallet. like
So we got to make multiple wallets, people. You don't want everyone to know your guys' money. So you can make multiple wallets
or you could just
so
move
that
it
that
all
doesn't matter.
offline.
That is true too. But either way, it's all trackable on the blockchain. So that's pretty cool. There's so much stuff that we haven't even talked about, that we haven't even touched on with NFTs. But that's just to go to show how big of a space this is, how big that we're going to get, how much we're growing. And I'm going to love to see the metaverse that we're in later on with VR goggles. And I'm going to see Jordan with a full kitted armor and stuff like that. He's going to be all kitted out, and it's going to be really cool. So that kind of wraps up today's NFT talk. We're talking about all things NFTs for you guys. Remember to follow and subscribe to our social media accounts. We have so many: IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter. We're popping off a lot more on TikTok, so definitely check those out. Make sure to follow our personal social media accounts. Mine is Masternode1. Ryan's is Rye the Crypto Guy. And we got Jordan here being at NFT Education. Visual podcast experience can be found on YouTube. Audio podcast experience can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and all your other favorite podcast sources. And then check out www.themasternodes.com. Subscribe to that email list for the latest and greatest cryptocurrency information.
Make sure you guys join us back in 2 weeks. We're going to be going and posting another podcast for y'all. My name is Ryan. Thank you, Jordan, for joining our podcast today. We really appreciate it. And actually, shout out to you, Jordan, because you're the first person to be co-hosting on our podcast.
First
We really
special
appreciate
guest.
we really appreciate you for joining us and taking the time out of your day. We understand you have a lot going on, so we really appreciate it. And thank you for joining, Jordan, again. And that's kind of it. Later.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Remember to follow him at NFT Education on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You got it.